Hi everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative. Today we are going to be making this big bowl. This is the one I got from Temu. I want to try it out, see how it works. I'm just going to cover it up to kind of keep some dust out of it. What I'm going to do is I made this quite a while ago, this piece here. And what I love about it is that I used, I believe it was a gray resin, gray colored resin, when I mixed it up and poured it in, which gave this kind of a grunge look, which I really liked. Now the bottom obviously it was filled in later because I didn't have enough of this, but I really liked how this turned out on, you know, the inside and the outside. Yeah, let me get the light right there. Okay, so we're gonna work on trying to capture that essence with this big bowl. What I used for that other piece was the Let's Resin neon colors, and I used all the colors in it. Get rid of that. I'm going to use all the colors on this because it's a big enough bowl. So we've got here, we've got coral, we've got green, there's 12 colors in all. We've got some pinks, we've got blue, purple. So we're going to do the entire bowl with these powders. And then what I want to do is I'm going to do it a little bit differently. One, I am going to be using a deep pour resin with this because it is such a big mold. I am also going to be using my heating mat because I want to see sort of how much difference there is from a curing time perspective. I know this is probably maybe a bigger piece than they might recommend, but my idea is we'll get this all done. We'll get the resin poured, and I'm using two different colors for the resin this time, and I'll let you know what those colors are in a moment. I am going to let this sit for probably a couple of hours, just so it can, get some of the bubbles and whatnot out of it. I'm going to have it on the heating mat, and then after a couple hours, I'm actually going to turn the heating mat on because I want to see how well the heating mat would work with a deep pour resin, so I don't have to wait the 3 days to take it out. I can do it sooner than that. And I've seen some other people use the deep pour resin in bigger pieces and use their heating mat, and things seem to work out okay. I figured, well, we'll give it a go and see how it works. And I'll be monitoring it throughout so I can just see what it's going to be doing. I will be removing, because I've learned now, don't leave my measuring mat down when I'm using my heating mat because it impacts it. So it'll just be on the level board. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. And now as far as the colors for the resin go, we're going to be using this red by Eye Candy. I want to try and get this. I can't, for the life of me, I can't seem to get. That's the red we're going to be using, and this is more of a burgundy to me. It's not so much as a red, it's a burgundy. So we're going to be using that, and we're also going to use the gray tide, and I've used this color before in some of the pieces I've done. So we're going to be using this as well. So we'll be mixing up, and the nice thing is I have time to work with my resin, obviously, because it's deep pour and it doesn't cure near as fast, and we'll do half and half. I did measure this. I measured it with water, and it took about 500 milliliters, grams of water. I'm going to make up 600. I know that the density of the resin is more than what water is, and if I need to, I'll find something else to pour the rest into, which I can do, at any time I want, really. So let's get started on this. I do want to take my masking tape before I start doing anything, because I've got what looks like a couple of little things on it, or they're right in the mold. So let's see. There's a piece there. I saw something over there. Whatever, maybe it's under, it's within it. Anyway, so we're going to have to flip this around inside out so that we can work with it. Get my makeup brushes, and as usual, I won't make you sit and watch me do all of this. I'm just trying to think of which makeup brushes would be the best. I'd kind of like to really use my big one here, but unfortunately, you know what? You must get tired watching me try and figure out where I need to put this. I really just need to work with the, the actual, never mind. So, get out a couple of different brushes. I'd love to be able to use this one though. Darn it. There we go. It's going to be one of those videos. Stick around for the ride. Let's get that one out. Yeah, it's kind of hard. Anyway, let's see what we can do. And all I did with the other one is I just randomly put the colors around it. And what I think I'm going to do is raise that. Yeah, because this is so big. So bear with me as I lift this up. See if that makes it a little bit better for us to see. Alrighty, let's do this. These aren't going to stick in. I'm going to have a hard time if yeah, these big ones, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to use them, are just going to be too much. So maybe I'll do this one. And there's no rhyme or reason to where I put this, and I don't care if I get colors sort of intermingling with one another. I'm being a little cautious because I don't want I don't want to wear it, which is exactly what's happening here. Gonna have to get out a wet wipe. And so this is all we're gonna do, is just randomly put this stuff around, and if it gets mixed in with other colors, that's fine. It's kind of fun, you know, when you do pieces and you don't care. You just, I call it the grunge look, and I like it because you don't have to have any rhyme or reason to what you're doing, and I think you can have a lot more fun with the pieces. Now I am going to try and wipe some of this off before I go to the next color, because I don't really want to contaminate my colors. So I want to just be a little careful when I'm... The white's a harder color, and let's get green off of this, or I'm going to end up with all green, right? So yeah, you just swirl it around however you want. I say no rhyme or reason to this. I think it looks better the more not organized you are with your color. And if you don't get it everywhere, that doesn't matter either. I don't think anyway. Maybe put a little bit of white over here. You won't get to see everything I'm doing, but so we'll do a couple more colors together, and then I will go off and finish it off. Should have maybe ended with the green, although there are other colors. And I mean, unfortunately, I don't have brushes for every color, which might be a good idea, but I don't. And I've got a little bit too much on that. Anyway. And if we end up missing, too big to miss, but they do, it comes out cool when you mix and match your colors, or at least I think it does. Again, it's one of those, you have to see what works for you from a color perspective, right? And I'm just going through, with these colors, I'm just grabbing them out one by one. I'm not going in, like, picking out specific colors. Just going, taking one color and then getting the next color, and so on. And I'll go through, I'm getting some little flecks on here, and I don't know what they're coming, they might be coming up from my table, so I'll have to make sure I don't have any of those in it when I get done. It'll be neat to see how this turns out. I'm excited for this piece just because I haven't done a bowl this size before. So it should be interesting. So I'll do one more color with you, and then I'll carry on and get the rest of them on. And then I'll bring you back so you can see what it looks like. And then I will mix up my resin. And we will take it from there. So as you can see, like, I am just, yeah, putting this wherever, don't care what colors it lines up to, don't need it to be, like, it's one of those, don't think about it. Don't think about it, just do it. Now, the number of times in my life I should have said that to myself, but I haven't. And then too, if you want, like mix it in a little bit with the colors so it sort of blends itself. And again, if they don't match, that's not a big deal. And see, I have some little flecks right in here, and I'm not bothered by that at all. All right, getting it all over myself as well. I'm going to carry on, and I will bring you back when I've got it all done so you can see it. Then we'll flip it inside out, and then I'll get working on my resin. All right, so here we go. It is covered. I wish I'd not put on too much of some of the other colors because I got down to the end. There's one color I didn't use, and I didn't really get much as far as purple and blue went on this, but that's okay. And I smeared it around to the best of my ability so that it was, you know, blended in really well. And if there's spots where we don't have it, it's not really a big deal, because as we've got the colored resin, it'll fill in any spots that we've got. But I like it. I think it, you know, like this smeared here works for me because it's supposed to be sort of grungy looking. And then I'll show you around the edges. All right, so that's what we're working with. I mean, I don't think you need to be any like really specific with, you know, some of the colors you've got. You can just throw them on wherever you want. I've done that before with pieces, so why not with this one? So let's turn this inside out, or right side out, or whatever you want to call it. Now you've seen it. And the reason I'm kind of doing it, which may seem like a backwards kind of way, is because I don't want to pull off any of the color if I can avoid it. So that's why I'm doing this sort of wonky. There we go. I feel like I'm... Okay, go back together the way you're supposed to. Ugh. Seriously, should not be this challenged doing this bowl. Ah, there we go. Okay, I'm going, what have I done wrong here? Why is this not going together? It's one thing if you're doing something like this and it's just, you know, yourself doing it, and then when you're doing it on camera, it's like, what am I doing? I'm thinking this needs to go back together, right? So I think what I might do though is I'm going to take and try and put a little bit more white in there. The other colors seem pretty good, but let's put a little bit more weight on this. And I don't know why I'm really cleaning up the outside, but I feel like it. All right. So let's take our white here. We'll clean off our brush a little bit because it's definitely got some of the darker colors on it. I'll have to clean that out properly. It's amazing how much color like gets stuck in these brushes. Yes, if you're using it for the same colors all the time, it really doesn't matter, but when you're mixing it up like I am, yeah, kind of covering up my blue a little bit, but that's all right. Okay, we'll see if we can get some of that off. I know what I'm going to do. Instead of mixing it in, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. I'm all for grunge. I get it, but being able to have this to hold on to on the bottom is actually helpful because then it's not touching the, like I'm not taking anything off. Okay, so we will definitely be cleaning out that brush. All right, let me take a moment and mix up my resin. We'll just cover that up. And then again, we'll be back once I've got it all mixed up and we're ready to pour. All right, are you ready to pour with me? I've got my colors done. So we're ready to go on that front. And yeah, I guess my only hope in doing this is that we have enough resin, right? That's what we're hoping for. So let's get pouring. We're going to do this a little bit back and forth between the two colors so we can sort of get something funky going on here. I measured, like once I had it all mixed up, then I put 300 in each container and made it up. So we have, it's pretty even. It's not exactly even, but it's pretty even. And then we'll just, yeah, go back and forth. I think I need to move this into the center because I think it's sort of tilted up a little bit and going to one side. So let's just move this down a little bit because we've got the knob up here at the top, so that could be impacting me a little bit. And we'll just pour and see where we end up. It is not plugged in. As I said, I don't want to plug it in for a little bit. I'm going to pour some over here, see if we can't get some going over on this side and maybe make it a little bit different. And going off to the side. I almost wish I could have it spinning, but of course, once this has got its resin in it, for me to get this spinning would be, well, you know, pretty impossible. Okay, now I have some, I should have with the red actually, and maybe I'll do that yet. I'm going to mix that up. I've got some stuff at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it in here, some flecks, which I don't really want. I should have done it the way I did the gray, and I didn't. So I'll sort of give you a handle on what I did. So let me take one of these and see if I can sort of spin this around a little bit and mix it a little bit better, because I know there was some stuff on the bottom of the red, like I didn't, yeah, I'll explain what I did with the red versus what I did with the gray, and I should have done the same with the red. Hopefully that'll help out a little bit. Oops. Clean that up. Now, as I mentioned, we are going to let this sit for a couple of hours so we can let air bubbles sort of work their way up. And we know from one of my experiments that we can work with it up to like 9 hours was about the point where I couldn't put anything else in my resin, and I can't remember which video that was in, but I had done a video about that, sort of doing a timeline of, you know, how and when things would sink and whatnot. So I don't remember what video that was in, but if you go back through, you'll be able to find that. I think this is going to, like, just even looking at the sides, I don't know how much you can see at the side over here, but I kind of think this is going to turn out really neat. Just the way it's sort of swirling on the sides, or what looks to be swirling. And I'll find, as I say, I'll find something else to make in the event that I have leftover, which it looks like I might have some, but I'm not thinking I have a lot. And I'll measure out so that I know with the deep pour how much. And I kind of think it's neat too, because what it's doing, it's pulling back in on itself. And I'm thinking it's because that red is a little more opaque than what, no, the red is more translucent than the gray. I'm almost sorry I did the sides the way I did, because I'm thinking it might be really cool to see how this is all going to pull in. But, and the two colors together, I think, are going to play nicely. I love watching that just sort of suck itself in. And I'm not touching. I mean, I know I usually say, well, I'm not going to touch it, and then I start swirling stuff all over the place, and I'm not going to with this. I am going to let this do its own thing, because that's what's going to work best. And sometimes, yeah, I have to learn. I don't know about anyone else out there that watches the videos and does it, but I have to learn just to leave well enough alone and not play. Sometimes I play too much. Okay, some gray. So it's looking pretty. I don't think I'm going to have a lot of this left. I have to admit, yes, I was a little worried that I might not have enough. But it looks like I'm going to have either just enough or just a little bit left over. And I was thinking I could go get that really huge tea light mold I have. But I'm not going to have enough resin left over for it. So these, I think, are little specks of that's from the bottom of that container. Now I have to be careful because I'm getting high on this side. And I definitely, we know I don't want to go over, because if I start going over, we are going to be in deep doo-doo. So I think what I might do is just because I am not going to put any more in this, I'm going to leave it alone. I'll get something to cover it up with. I don't have anything silicone wise, I'm going to have to get out. I've got a huge thing over here I can put on top of it. But yeah, I'm pretty close to the lip over here, so we're not going to touch it. We're not going to put any more in it. It's got some really cool definition around the side here, which is brilliant. I'm loving it. I think this is going to turn out very cool. So I am going to find something else to put the rest of this resin in. We will do it on the heat mat as well because I need a level table. And then once I go to turn it, like I say, at 2 hours I'm going to turn this on so we can start to set up, and we'll see how this turns out and how long we have to let it sit if we use the heat mat. So having said all of that, I'll be back in a little bit. Hey there, I am back. It is time to turn this on. So you'll see this great big, I don't even know what it's called. It's used for barbecues, to cover food up when it's outside. So I took this and put it on top. This will not be remaining on here. I'm going to take it off. I did get another, and why am I taking this off? Because I don't trust it enough to stay on here because it'll get too warm and I don't need it melting and or starting a fire in my room down here. But I just thought I'd cover up for the time that it was sitting on its own. So it was on its own for about 2 hours. So we kind of have a neat, I don't know how well you can see this. Let me go. I'm not sure if this is going to work to show you, but we've got a cool looking design here happening. It almost looks scale like. So think of a snake skin. That's what it's reminding me of a little bit in spots. On the far side here, you can see I have a star that I got it about half filled. I had about 110 mils left, and I can't remember if I mentioned that to you. So I put it in the star. My plan is we're going to warm that up. I'm going to get it somewhat set, probably not completely set, and then I'm going to make up some more resin, same colors. All that's in there are those two colors, the gray and the red. So I will be doing that later. And so I'm figuring I probably could have gotten away with just doing about 520 mils of resin. Again, I'd rather have enough than run out. I don't like having to make extra if it's needed. So we can cover that with something. I'm just trying to see what's readily available to me and doing a poor job on that one. This might work. And I don't want anything too heavy on it. Okay, so we'll do that for that. We should be okay having that covered. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to turn this on. I don't really want to have this full blast. I'm going to turn it full blast just to get it warmed up. And then I think I'm going to turn it down a little bit, just so that it's not full blast on this. Again, I don't know how well this is going to work. And I figured maybe if I didn't put it on full blast, it might be beneficial at the end of the day. My star should be fine because it doesn't go beyond the parameters. Now, the only thing that may hinder my star, but maybe not. I was thinking it's got feet on the bottom, and I didn't know if, it was elevated up, if that would, plug it in, Natalie. That would be an issue. So let's just plug it in. Gosh, this would be a repeat of me thinking the thing didn't work when I first, I first did the video on this. Some days, eh? Some days. Anyway, so we'll get it warmed up. And then what I want to do is turn it down a little bit because I don't want it full blast. I'm not sure it matters, but I just figured, nah, maybe not. The other thing I'm noticing here, which is kind of interesting, is that it's gotten darker, if you will. So when we first did it, it looked You could see some of the gray, more of the gray. But as I'm looking at it now, it's definitely got a dark feel to it, which doesn't bother me at all. I'm just going to be very curious to know how it's going to turn out when it's ready to take out of the mold. And then I guess I have to decide how long to let heat up for before I shut it off, and then how much more curing time it might actually need. So this is a hit and miss for me. I really don't know what to expect with this. I want to keep an eye on it, just because. And then I can give you some, tips on, if you should be doing it. I figure because it's going to be warming up, it can warm up all of it. But we'll see. I don't know. To me, it's something like baking a cake. It will eventually cook the whole thing. So I figure if the resin on the bottom starts getting warm, then it'll sort of warm it all the way up. It may not. This may be an act of futility on my part. However, well, again, if I don't experiment and play, I don't know. So I'm playing. And we'll see what happens. So it is warming up. My mat is warming up. I'm not really too concerned about putting anything on the sides because I figure this bowl is heavy enough to hold things down. Like it's not going to have an opportunity to lift itself up. Yeah, so it is warming up. And I know I am pretty confident that I've got that on full now that it's plugged in. If I don't laugh at myself, I've got nothing. All right. So, yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to let you go again. I am going to let this sit for probably about a half an hour at the temperature, like full speed on. And then I'll come back and I'll check on it. And then I will make a determination about turning it down a little bit. Maybe I won't have to. I mean, my hands are sitting on there, and they're not overly hot, warm, whatever. So, yeah, maybe we'll just leave it at the temperature. So, but I will definitely keep you posted, and I'm really looking forward to getting this out of the mold because there's just something that says this is going to be a really cool looking piece when we're all done. Anyway, I could sit here and stare and you just have no sound. I won't do that. I'll be back. Welcome back. We are ready to take this out of the mold. I'm realizing that it might have been a good idea had I found something I could have covered it up with because there's a hair in this, which is fair. I'll work on getting that out at a later time. Okay, what ended up happening was, you'll notice the bottom, when we ended this, it had really neat cells on the top of it. This spent 7 hours on this heat mat. I had to turn it off when I went to bed because I will not leave something like this on at night when I'm sleeping. It's for safety reasons. Anyway, so it's changed. Like the look of this has changed as it was getting warmed up. Now it's solid, okay? So within 24 hours, this has set up. And I'm going to be very careful taking it out. And then I'm going to let it sit for, another day or two, just to completely set, as I would with anything. So I've got my fingers crossed that when I take it out of here, that we don't have any issues with the bowl misshaping. It should be okay. I don't want to get, I don't want to, sort of start playing around with it or anything like that. I just want to get it out so we can see how it turned out. The star, I haven't done anything else with it, so I will get to it at a later date. And I know that I'm going to have to let that just set up on its own without putting it on the heat mat because it wasn't done all basically at the same time. So that's fine. I'll get that done at a later date. I also want to mention, I think I have before, with my videos that when we're dealing with deep pour, that it tends to shrink. And so this has as well, like when we finished, well, when I finished yesterday, which is today, the same day for you guys, it was pretty much right up to the top, and I didn't want to put any more in it. But I have noticed not only on this piece, but on other deep pours that the resin is shrinking as it sets up. So just something to be aware of. I've thought if I do pieces that I would have some extra set aside so I could fill it up. But because we use the heat mat, doing that for me wasn't viable anyway. So let's see about getting this out. It's sort of a little, sort of scary for me to do this. Just because it is a deep pour. Now I'm noticing I've got sort of a film of the resin around the top, so hopefully that won't be an issue. And we're going to find out just how well, this concept works. I'm actually very impressed that this setup, being the size of the mold and all that, so, impressed it worked. Like I said, I want to be careful with it. I don't kind of want to be careful with it. I want to be careful with it. Gotta love these molds. There we go. Just got to get it rolling, eh? Dog taking off. It's kind of funny. There's been some snow and ice falling off the roof, and where she sits is right by a window. Yeah, she's had a scare the last couple of days with pieces falling off, and it's funny, but it's not. I feel for it because it's the shock, right? It's the noise all of a sudden, and it's like, what's happening here? All right. Okay, so that is something I definitely needed to do my red, mixed it like I did my gray. Now, I can't remember if I told you what I don't think I did. I was going to, and then I didn't. So let me, in case I didn't explain it. So when I was mixing my colors into my resin, for the red, I just basically let it fall into the resin and then mixed it up. And I ended up getting, as you can see in the bottom of this, some flecks that have poured into my piece, which makes it interesting, but not what I wanted. When I did the gray, though, I put my color on my stick, okay? And then I was just swirling it around to get it off the stick, which worked much better. I didn't get those flecks and whatnot in the gray. So just a tip, when you're doing this, just put your colorant, like your paste, on your stick or whatever you're using. And then, like I said, I just swirled it in to the resin. I didn't let it drop off to the bottom. I just kept swirling it until I got most of it off. So there's a tip for you that may or may not be helpful. Now, I do have some scratches on the inside, which I'm probably going to have to put down to the mold. But all in all, I mean, the only, sort of interesting thing is the fact that the gray somewhat disappeared in here. But I do have to say that it looks really cool. Yeah, and I'm impressed. Like 24 hours and this, this is set, and I want to try and give it a little bit of pressure, not a lot, just to. But, this will totally set itself up over the next couple of days. And this bit at the back, okay, so we've got, I'm going to have to find something to lift that up. Ick, I don't want that stuck on there. It's like a very fine film. Yeah. That I'm going to have to use my deburring tool to get rid of. So if you can see that in here. So I'll have to clean that up and take that off. And then what I'm going to probably do, And as much as I don't want to, I'm going to get that piece of, I think it is a piece of hair out of it, without hopefully doing too much damage to the bowl. But all in all, this was kind of a cool experiment because I like I said, I wasn't sure it was going to work or that it would set up. I got a scratch on the side of that too. Is that a scratch? No. Oh, whew. Okay. It's just some of this. No, we're okay. Yeah. It's not the best mold. Let me just get some tape and see. I don't know whether that's from the mold on the side here. Yeah, I think it is. Okay, well, again, it's a Temu mold, so yeah, that's, and I don't know that you'll be able to see it. I don't know if I can get it in the proper light, but yeah, there's definitely some issue with that. I'll have a look at the inside of the mold later, just to see if it is like sort of a one-off or if it just got scratched when it was being made. Because it's good in spots, and that may just be the one spot that it's not. So, interesting. Interesting. Okay. I could, again, one of those times I could just sit here and kind of stare at it, but you don't need to be on camera to have that. So, but all in all, I think it looks pretty cool. I like how that turned out. Anyway, so that's it. I just want to end with a quick little message, respond to everybody that leaves me comments. And I had one individual who said they didn't figure I read or responded to comments. That's not the case. Anyone who has sent me a message, for the most part, I normally do respond. Anyone who makes a statement, I don't necessarily respond to because it's a statement of whatever. I will not respond to people who rant about what I'm doing on my videos, because these are my videos. And I have mentioned before that if my videos aren't something you want to watch, then hey, that's totally cool. And you make a decision to go watch somebody else. I don't have a problem with that. My numbers go up and down, I think, because of, you know, people not wanting to watch my videos, or they come and go, and, you know, that's totally cool. But I've made a decision, and I'm like many other artists who have occasionally people who make comments that are not helpful, and I think bring down the dynamic of the group. I want an uplifting group. I love my subscribers, and I have some very faithful subscribers who, that's very important to me, and it means a lot, and I do my bestest when I do my videos. I also sometimes do videos that, you know, they're products I don't like, and I comment to that, as do other artists who have these channels. So I will do my best to respond to people, and I usually do it within a 24-hour period. If it's a comment that doesn't require a comment back, then I don't, you know. So again, these are my videos. I do them my way. I respect my followers to the best of my ability. Having said that, if my videos don't float your boat, then hey, you have the option. You can choose to either follow me or not follow me. And again, that's totally cool with me. You do you. That's what this is all about. So, having said that, I am going to end this video now. I will clean up the bowl. I will have a look at the inside of this silicone mold to see if there's something inside of it that is maybe stuck to the mold itself that has, you know, sort of created these marks. Or again, it's a Temu mold, and I can't remember how much I paid for it, but I don't think it was a lot. So that's it. But I like how it turned. I have to admit, I do like how the colors worked out. And the star, I'm going to just show you the inside of the star. It also, like, the colors just sort of really blended together. And I'm thinking that's because of the way it was being heated up. So I'm really curious to do the two-part epoxy with those colors in, and that set up naturally and see if we keep the coloring versus it sort of blending the way it did as it got heated up. Because it was really fascinating to watch it heat up and the colors start changing and blending in different ways. But yeah, I'm happy, and even the flecks make it interesting. So let me know what you think about the flecks in that. And also, like I said, the helpful tip of stirring your paste in, not just dropping it in, because that, would make a difference. Anyway, be creative. Have a great rest of your day. Take care, and bye for now.